Hello, my name is Jana, and I chose the book Comeback as my summer reading project. I chose this book because I thought it was going to be an interesting read just based on the description alone. It just sounded really interesting to me, and I thought it was really interesting that the fact that at one point one of the main characters ends up in former Yugoslavia, considering that's where my family's from. My dad was born there, and so were my grandparents from both sides of my family. So my whole family's from Serbia, so that was part of Yugoslavia before the war. So that's a main reason why I chose the book, and that's probably the thing I anticipate the most about it. What I anticipate it's going to be about, I think it's going to be about a mother and daughter's journey through finding themselves and whatnot, and I was really interested to see how like drugs and addiction like play into that and how they can heal, and I just want to know their stories. I love reading memoirs and stuff like that, so I thought this was going to be a really interesting read. Thanks.
Hello, I am Hannah, and I chose the book Come Back to read for my summer reading project. And the reason why I wanted to read this was to understand more about why people choose addiction and how people basically get out of it, because I find that a really interesting topic, especially because a lot of people that I know have struggled with addiction, and I really didn't understand it fully. So I'm kind of interested to read this book and understand why Mia Fontaine chose addiction and possibly how she's going to get out of it. I don't really know for sure. And I am excited to read this because of that. And I'm also excited to read about Claire's perspective as well, because she is the person who is trying to understand addiction, and I hope to relate to her kind of, because that's what I'm trying to do and I'm trying to get out of this reading, is to understand addiction. So yeah.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes.
My question for you is, if you were in Claire's shoes, what would you have done to get Mia out of the situation with her father? Because I, to be honest, wasn't really keen on like the idea of her like still letting her see her father.
If I was Claire at the time, like I definitely wouldn't have let her like keep seeing her father, because he was like,
I would have just like bolted out of the state, you know?
yeah, I would have divorced him, and I would have probably like left almost immediately and like tried to get like sole custody. You can never know like
But
what
didn't it
you
go on
would do.
for like a year?
Yeah.
I'm like, how would she let her daughter would literally come home like crying and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, why would you? I would just leave.
I just don't understand why she
Like,
waited like so long.
I wouldn't even care like legally. I'd be like, my
Yeah.
daughter's being hurt. Why would I keep her?
Yeah,
in
but
this
also the fact that the like court system wanted to let him keep seeing her even after like all that he had done was like ridiculous, and I didn't understand that.
I think that's like the social thing though. They get, I don't want to trigger anyone, but typically if they are a male, they can get away with some leeway.
Yeah.
There versus if it was a girl, or maybe she literally had proof. I think maybe she like felt alone, so she was like, it's this guy or no one.
Yeah.
I had a daughter who was in Mia's shoes. I would kind of blame myself for something.
I think Claire is also like a very, very close-minded person. When she found that Mia was cutting herself, she just said, but why, Mia? That's so weird. Like, your kid is hurting themselves. Like, there's an issue going on, and all you have to say is, that's weird. I guess that she made a point in the book that she didn't mean it to come out that way, but it did, and she did nothing to, like, counteract that. So my question is, how did you feel reading about the way that the kids or teenagers, as they like were acting when Claire went to Morava to like visit Mia, because they were acting like they were like little kids, you know?
Oh, like when they hugged her and stuff?
Yeah, they were like jumping on her, hugging her.
See, that didn't really make a lot of sense to me, because I'm guessing the school is super, super expensive or whatever. And some of the people are like, my mother doesn't want to visit me or anything, and I'm like, how would they pay money to keep them in the school? They obviously have to care in some extent. It's got to cost a lot of money to put them in the school. and I don't think they're really acknowledging that much in the book.
She never ever complained about having to pay that much money to get Mia the help that she needed, and I thought that was like really like cool. But I thought it was very, very strange that the kids weren't allowed to talk. They had to face the walls when the other gender was passing.
But Mia has
like,
acknowledged that she's like, I appreciate it for the silence because it really opens up your world to show you don't need to be talking all the time to build bonds with people.
Yeah.
And sometimes being silent's like the best thing possible.
I mean, I guess the silence part also like helped her like grow as a person. I mean, I guess it makes you like think about like your own issues more often when it's silence, because you don't have anyone to talk to, so you have more time in your hands to like,
and in the past places Mia would just burst out. She would yell, she would swear at them, and that wasn't against the rules. Here, if you did that, you would go down a level, you would lose points. Okay, so I just finished reading the book Comeback, and my overall reaction to the book was it was pretty good. I really enjoyed reading the parts of the book that Mia wrote. I kind of dreaded reading the parts that Claire wrote because I wasn't really a fan of how she wrote the book. I don't think it was completely honest compared to how Mia basically spilled her emotion out to the audience, and that was just basically my concern of the book. My favorite part was probably when Mia accepted that, she was really troubled. This was when she was in like the rehab center. When she kind of made it click in her mind that, I am very troubled and I really do need help, and if I don't stop myself, she was saying that she's the one who needs to help herself, and she's the only one who can help herself, and that finally clicked in her head, and that was probably my favorite part of the book. My least favorite part was how her mother didn't really, when she found out that Mia was being molested, she didn't really take her out of that situation right away. She waited a long time. Well, not a long time, but she waited a couple months until she took Mia away from that environment, and I really didn't like that part of the book. The most difficult part of reading the book was kind of just trying to put myself into Claire's shoes and Mia's shoes and being like, wow, this actually happened, and this happens to a lot of people every single day, and it's tough, and I really don't know how they could still have that bond that they have today where it's a mother and daughter relationship. And it was just crazy because Mia was in such a dark place with addiction and her relationships with people, and then she still found a relationship with her mother even though she said she hated her, she never wanted to see her again. That was just a crazy part of the book, how they still formed that relationship that they had when Mia was a little girl, and I thought that was pretty sweet. So again, overall, I thought the book was pretty good. Some of the parts did seem a little slow, and again, I really wasn't a fan of Claire's perspective, but I thought it was definitely a book that was worth my time reading. So yeah.
Hi, this is my post-reading vlog for the book Comeback. That's the book I chose to read this summer. My overall reaction to the book was a very positive one. I really enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed almost everything about it. I thought it was really interesting and powerful to be able to hear someone's journey through drug addiction and their recovery. And I had some favorite parts of the book, and I had some least favorite parts. My favorite parts were definitely from Mia's perspective when she was writing her side of the book. I definitely looked forward to reading those. I didn't look as forward to reading Claire's as I did Mia's. Prior to reading the book, I thought that Mia would be kidnapped based on the way the back of the book sounded. I thought it was really interesting to find that she had run away, but she was still a missing person. And the fact that she was 15 when all this happened was insane to me. The most difficult part of reading this book was definitely the parts where it talks about her drug addiction and her being into the Morava Institute, and how different that is from our society and the way that we act and the way that we're treated. I thought that was really interesting, and overall I just really, really enjoyed this book. I would definitely recommend it for other people. I love reading memoirs and stuff like this, so this was a really good, interesting read for me. And I really enjoyed hearing Mia's story, so thank you. Oh my god, while I've been reading this book, Comeback, I realized that there was 2 different meanings. I was reading the book with 2 different meanings to the title. So basically, when I was reading it, everyone was calling it comeback. Like you're coming back from a really difficult journey, you know? And then while I was reading, I realized that it was also a plea for her, from Claire's perspective, for her daughter to come back. She wanted her daughter to come back to her. And also, it was a comeback. I thought that was really interesting, and I really need to share that new thing. So, the book Comeback has 2 different meanings. Thanks.